Welcome to our Devos, where we are talking about the unpopular yet necessary subject of adultery. Now, today we're going to come a little bit up higher out of this topic and go into the actual idea of sexual immorality, not just adultery. So whether you're married or not, this one is going to apply to you because this is super vital, and especially in this culture where right now the God that we serve is the God of how we feel. And if we feel good, it has to be good. If I'm getting some sort of satisfaction from it, it must be harmless. It must be good for other people. Therefore, it can't be wrong. Well, in reality, this is kind of the twisted way we look at it, where we say, well, we just got to follow our heart. I got to follow our heart. I got to follow my heart. Like my heart says that I find this person attractive, or I'm looking at that program, I'm watching that video, and it's got something sexually perverse, and my heart just tells me I just want to do this. I want to feel something. Well, in reality, you should be guarding your heart, not following it. You should be guarding your heart, not following it. The scriptures don't teach that your heart is something that should lead you. The scriptures teach that the heart is something that deceives you. Now, one of the things that kind of stick out in my mind when I think of Christianity is absolutely offensive to the flesh. It really is. The calling of Jesus on our lives, Jesus even says it himself. He says, if any should come after me, let him pick up his cross. Like if you're really following, think about what he's saying. If anybody should come after me, it's just going to be so enjoyable for your flesh. Like you're going to have all of your flesh met. This is absolutely untrue. If you're going to follow Jesus, there's going to be things that you do that don't feel comfortable. I'll take it out of the arena of sex for a moment. But let's just talk about anything. All right, so I hate. One of the biggest struggles I have is with eating and my health, diet, nutrition. This is always a problem. And the problem is because there are foods that are genetically programmed to make you feel good when you eat them. You eat that piece of chocolate cake and you get that instant dopamine hit. You're like, oh, it tastes so good. Or you eat that second helping of mashed potatoes and it feels so good in that moment. And that feeling is good. And the opposite of that is when you deny that. I don't want the potato. Can I just get some mixed veggies? Or, I'm going to skip dessert. I'm just going to have a smoothie or something later. I'm going to eat some fresh berries. It does something to you. It hurts. It's the opposite. It's the opposite of what feels good. And that's a way that we guard ourselves when it comes to our goals. Well, the same is the case for when we are trying to be sexually pure. You want to be aware of what's going on in your heart. You want to guard your heart. You want to be vigilant about the feelings, the thoughts, the resentments that might be coming out of your heart in your marriage and showing up in other ways. A lot of men will start down a road of pornography or even pursuing adultery because things are not going well sexually between them and their spouse. And they've said, well, you know what? We haven't slept together in a year. We haven't had sex, and she's not even interested in that. And, ever since she's had children, this has changed, or ever since, this happened. And therefore, and what they do is their heart has convinced them that what? Well, this behavior is now justified because there's a problem in that area. That is absolute chaos when it comes to you following your heart. And it's going to lead you to infidelity. Jesus says in Matthew chapter 15, verse 19, out of the heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, false witness, and slander. Does that give you any indication that the heart should be the conductor of your morality train? No. Your heart has a tendency to go wayward. It's the flesh. We struggle with that. So we have to be willing to say, I want to make sure that my heart is going in the direction of my God. And I want to make sure that my behavior is lining up with the behavior of Jesus, who denied himself every day. He could have sent 1,000 angels to take his place, to die for the sins of the world, but instead he chose to die to the flesh by putting upon the mortality of human flesh, taking that cross upon himself, symbolizing that we ourselves are going to have flesh crucified along with Christ. If we follow our heart, it's going to lead us to dark places. If we follow Christ, The road will be difficult, but it will lead us to more and more deliverance as we truly understand what it's like to allow Christ to bear the spiritual burden of our sin, and that we walk with him in step as we allow our flesh to be crucified, just like his was.